everybody. We take that one out and we put that one in. It is time to discuss the Golden Globes that have just finished and all that hijinks and whatever for what was surprisingly a good show. But anyway, I am Ashley, AJ, and Owen in no particular order. I just point. Yeah, generally I feel that Nikki did a pretty good job as host. Maybe this
And
means that she gets more chances to do this rather than, once every 5 years as it seems to be for the clubs.
it's like, so she did good, and it's not necessarily just based on last year's kind of disaster. That was Joe Coy was last year, right?
Yeah.
For many reasons, I'd like to forget 2023 happened. So that's still 2024, so we're good. Technically.
But, yeah, I think, the other interesting thing that I didn't realise until late on, and, well, because I noticed it on the Wikipedia article, we actually had two less awards to worry about tonight, and we still ran over. Because the Carol Burnett and Cecil B. DeMille Awards got presented Friday night. And I guess they did film it or something. Whether it's up on the Globe's YouTube channel, I don't know. But
Well, it didn't really help that cinematic and box office award is still a award nobody knows what it is or what it's awarding or why. And then Vin Diesel took so long presenting it.
It
by the way,
it says a lot that the biggest talking point from that is him acknowledging Dwayne Johnson existing after supposed all the debacles of their relationships regarding the Fast franchise.
I totally got the vibes that Dwayne didn't want that.
Yeah. I think Dwayne's got his mind more focused on whatever he's doing tomorrow at the what the fuck is it, the Igloo or whatever, for the Raw Netflix thing. For a minute there, I thought Owen was doing his John Pertwee and Whodunit thing,
I'm just sitting here waiting to be called upon. This word so wonderful for me. I slept through the whole thing and woke up about after 10 o'clock.
Ironically, that's a sort of a good segue because after Nikki's, the jokes weren't too sort of going against people, but it was the usual sort of like sly digs that you'd expect.
Sure.
Probably the biggest was to Joker, like, "Oh, I don't mean any disrespect. Where's the Joker table? Oh, wait, they're not here." That was maybe the most brutal it ever got, really. And then speaking of Dwayne, him and Orlili, I think it is.
Ollie Carvalho.
Ollie.
Great,
The woman that is sensible because she's realised I don't want to be in the live action version. Screw that. First presented supporting actress.
Okay.
Going to Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. A victory for dyslexia. Yes. Although her speech felt like it went on too long.
It seemed like there was a lot of people that felt like they weren't going to get to give a speech again this year, so they went all in.
Mm-hmm.
Probably likely at this point.
Brody's speech felt so much like his Oscar speech. Yeah. It was crazy.
I mean,
I don't mean his future Oscar speech. I mean his Oscar speech from 2003.
So myself and AJ got a point for that. Owen missed with Ariana Grande, who was Ariana Grande, by the way. No extra surname.
If she wins, it will be.
Then Kate Hudson and with the addition to Mindy Kaling, because the list that I saw said that Mindy was just doing TV comedy actress by herself, so I guess Kate was a last minute fill-in or whatever. Presenting TV comedy actress to Jean Smart for the Hacks. Selena Gomez losing out for the first time.
So here's the thing. They had the opportunity to go Amelia Perez in two separate categories, one after another, and they didn't take it. So Selena Gomez is still yet to win for Only Murders in the Building. And it sounds like, and now the show's over, so it'll never happen. So.
Oh, is it?
I think it is.
I think
I'm not positive on
series.
that.
I think.
Is it over? I thought it was over. Why did I think this was last season for it? I could be wrong.
No, the series was renewed for a 5th season back in September.
Okay. Next year, Hollywood Foreign Press, get her a damn award for something, please. She's waited long enough. And Marty Short, too, for that matter.
I was going to say, the whole show hasn't won anything yet, has it?
No, it's not been given its flowers yet. So I thought this was the last season for it because I don't know anything about television. I don't watch TV or anything like that. So
I watched the first 2 seasons of it and really liked it. And then I lost track of it so quickly. I had, when 4 happened, I had no idea 4 happened.
Meryl Streep won last year the Critics' Choice Award for Supporting Actress in Comedy Series.
Right.
And it's won a lot of the Creative Arts Emmys. The Satellite Awards for the past couple of years, it's not one that we sort of cover, but I keep an eye on at least. Selena Gomez actually won back at the 2023 awards 2 years ago. And then last year it actually got Best Musical or Comedy Series outright, but...
So can it win something with...
It's never won Emmys for the major categories outside of the techs, as you call, I guess as you technically call it, because it's the creative arts Emmys rather than the main Emmys. So a lot of series and very little success. Then again, God knows how many have had that. Better Call Saul. What's the other major one that I can't think of? That got nothing.
Lots of TV shows have gone goose egg in histories that didn't deserve that. So, I mean, moving on.
Next, we went to Film Supporting Actor with
Ariana
DeBose and Ki Hee Kwan, which went to Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain.
They put them together for Love Hurts?
Pretty much, yeah.
Interesting.
There was I love all of the unhinged Kieran Culkin speeches we've gotten over the years. And the fact that he's not slowing down with those, I don't want to jump the gun, because like I said, because I'm rooting for him.
Same.
But if he were to give a speech like that at the Oscars, I would love to see it.
Especially in the same week we found out that he was the one that drugged Mark Ruffalo as well. That became this big thing from... Because Ruffalo talked about it and didn't know what it is, and it's sort of taken till this week for Kieran Culkin to reveal that he was the culprit behind the drugs. Then we had a nice little bit with Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley saying it should be my night, not yours, but we're both nominated. Oh, shall we do this together? What's the worst that could happen? Sort of thing. Playing into obvious things, which led us to TV drama actor, which was the beginning of the massacre. Shogun wins its first award. Although I would say there was a very big technical glitch where Gary Oldman was Eddie Redmayne, and for half the time also was Hiroki Sanada, before they then switched away from the graphics and just showed Sanada briefly before they got to Billy Bob Thornton. Case in point, Sanada, I guess, didn't notice that problem with the graphics, because when he up on stage and says, I am here. So I was like...
And it wasn't just like it sat still and it was still on Oldman. It did the whole presentation thing and it was just Oldman every time.
What a slap in the face for Oldman losing.
Yeah. Well, I had said in our prediction video that I thought Shogun would have a really good night, and I still underestimated it. I didn't underestimate it here, but elsewhere.
I missed one that I should have went for, because for the point I brought up in the last time of Richard Chamberlain, his character winning for Shogun for the miniseries instead. But I should have realized that Shogun was going to go like sweep right there, and that's what I should have went with, because I did go with everybody else. So we all got that point.
Then Kathy Bates and Anthony Ramos, with an interesting little bit between them, which also led to the bit where we had the sort of stats of what got mentioned in the night, where, and I think it stayed true for most of it, God got less mentions than either Mario Lopez or Craft Services. But we'll get to Craft Services in a few minutes.
Always thank Crafty at all times.
So yes, the supporting actress went to Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer.
Good call on your part.
If I knew what the hell Baby Reindeer was, I probably would have went more in on it, but I didn't, so...
I didn't think it was going to get the recognition it did, to be fair.
TV, they could go either way they want. They very basic, or they could be really bold. There's no in between.
And then Tadanobu Asano won for Shogun for supporting actor as well.
I should have went with that.
That was a wonderful speech, and most of them should be like that.
Although what was interesting about basically a lot of this is, from what I've established, they're doing season 2 of Shogun now, hence why supporting actor said, I'm getting on a plane so I can act tomorrow in Japan. And the same actually went for Hacks, which we'll get to later. So they're obviously, actually in the middle of filming and fit this all around it, so fair play to that. Although, yeah, Bardem no-showed. I might as well mention these now. Kevin Kline no-showed. Donald Glover no-showed. Everybody in the film side showed up, but some of the TV people did not.
Kevin Kline no-showed and got called out by Miles Teller for it.
Nice.
I left one out because we'll get to that literally now, because Jennifer Coolidge came out, who had a brilliant thing about wanting equality on set. So when she was working with Billy Bob Thornton, his pet coyote was allowed on set. But when she was there, her triplets weren't allowed, who apparently were called Cheryl, and Cheryl, or something like that. It was a damn good intro, to be fair.
The condensed version is she came out and Jennifer Coolidged on the stage, essentially.
Pretty much. Yeah, so Joan Malin White won, but wasn't there, so that was the shortest acceptance speech of the night.
I always imagine, like, when one speech goes on for a long time and then there's one where somebody's not there's like a sigh of relief in like the control room.
Then we jumped to Morris Chestnut and Kaylee Cuoco for movie screenplay, which did go to Peter Storm for Conclave.
Nice.
I'll make that the fireworks on that one. Yes, Conclave deserves all the love.
Although this is where we actually found out it's pronounced Farjeet, apparently.
So
I
it's
don't every time I don't trust anyone because every time I've heard her name, it's said a different way. So I don't know what the real one
Farjeet
is.
is what was said at the Globes, and we actually
well,
saw the bloke there. Because, like, weirdly, like, to fill the time, he was, like, trying to do sort of, like, tidbits and sort of facts for various things. Uh, and then half the time, he'd basically have to sort of say them in about 5 seconds because the person got to the stage quicker than. Clearly, he's been told in his ear, you've got to fill for time for them to get to the stage. And then when all of a sudden, when they get to the stage and he's run out of. He's got too much
But yeah,
material to give.
well, yeah, it makes sense because some people were like right there in the front row, and some people that kept winning, like Hacks, for some reason, was apparently at the back of the room.
that was a bad idea when it came to placement, honestly. Especially with Hax's like success over the years, you would think they would be closer to the front of the venue.
I had flashbacks to when Betty White won the SAG for Hot in Cleveland, and she basically got lost on the way to the stage, and the theme song looped like 20 times.
It became a New Jack entrance then. So yeah, this sucks for Jesse Eisenberg.
What about Jesse Eisenberg?
This sucks for Eisenberg for losing screenplay. But I have zero qualms with it going to Conclave.
Yeah, this was like
I'm very happy with this.
with Conclave, the Substance, A Real Pain, and the Brutalist in there. That was a really strong lineup.
Can't say anything about the Brutalist, but I can say something about the other three. So
There were 5 good scripts in there. There was also
And
one that may or may not have been inspired by somebody that may be on the screen. So.
Who knows?
I have no idea what you're talking about. PlausibleDeniability.com.
All I know is my mood significantly changed when they said Conclave. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was asleep when this was going on, so Ashley had to like give me the iggy that things happened while I was asleep, and I woke up at 10 thinking, "Oh my God, the show's over! Thank God!" Oh no, we still have an hour left.
A little over an hour, actually.
Oh my God.
Nate
It was 700 stupid TV categories. They can have their own stupid award show. We'd be fine.
Nate Bardsgatz did the stand-up one, which went to Ali Wong, so back-to-back wins for her. Go ahead.
I pulled that one out of my ass, to be honest. I was completely convinced I did not get that point. But lo and behold.
Weirdly enough, any of the stand-up shows I've watched throughout the years don't get nominated for these categories.
Although the best thing, considering it's the only chance I get to properly mention, we had the random bit in the intro when Nikki was like, you know, I love Timothée Chalamet so much because it sounds like something that Adam Sandler would say. Yeah. And she managed to get Freddie Sandler to go, Chalamet!
She herself has a pretty good Sandler. They almost didn't even need him there.
Yeah. Kind of fascinating. Then, what confused me, bloody Nikki said that here's our International Icon Award winner. And I'm like, wait, have we added another category that I'm not aware of? No, let's just say something nice about Sharon Stone, I guess. As we got to film not in the English language, which did go to Amelia Perez. As we expected.
So now that the Globes have happened, it is on you, film bookers, to send me Amelia Perez immediately so I can see this movie and find out what the hell the big deal about it is. Because you know damn well I'm not streaming it. So you're going to give me a theatrical version of this movie before February. That's it.
Considering how it was one of the biggest winners of the night, and I'm expecting it showing up quite a lot at the Oscars, it will be getting some sort of limited theatrical rerun, I guess, because it would have had to have been in, obviously, certain cinemas, mainly, obviously, in California and New York to be eligible, so...
I mean, it does also just seem like a waste how many oh, and when you talk about the Netflix problem and being able to find Netflix movies in theaters, it's kind of this almost cosmic joke how a lot of the movies Netflix has are like really, really cinematic,
Mm-hmm.
and most people will see them like this. So, yeah, so I'm basically saying that you're in the right with your frustration with their distribution problem.
That's
And it's
where I.
not just that.
Obviously, I've got something against their physical release problem. You've got something against their theatrical release problem.
Well, it's also that, I mean, we're getting very much ahead of ourselves, but like, let's talk about this past year with Turning Red, Luca, and Soul coming out theatrically for the first time.
Yeah.
So technically speaking, if you want to talk about best and worst for the year, I can count those movies in the list because they came out for the first time in a theater last year.
And they were also kind of COVID victims, weren't they?
Yeah, they certainly were.
Yeah.
The problem with
Netflix doesn't have an excuse.
No, the Netflix problem is also the fact that they don't work with AMC. So Netflix, the only way I can watch a Netflix movie is when I have to go through Cinemark or sometimes Regal, but usually it's Cinemark. That's when I have to go across town and go watch the movie at the theater that has the Bond Lounge and the Deezerland that I go to once a year just to watch the theatrical movie. I'm looking at you, Amelia Perez, but that feels like that's going to be the problem this year. Because The Brutalist, I can confirm, is next week. One way or another, it's next week.
The one I'm conflicted about is Wallace and Gromit, because how it started up as just being sort of TV movies that were on at Christmas.
I need that
Even
too.
though that does feel like a feature film as it is. And probably would be nice to see on the big screen. It feels like because of its origins, it feels just as good that it's on a small screen, so I'm hoping that did well in the numbers for Netflix. I guess we'll find out that fully probably next week.
I swear, if that's the only movie that I don't get to see theatrically that's running for animated, and I miss out on a full animated feature lineup because of Wallace and Gromit, I'm going to be very agitated.
Then miniseries for TV actor presented by the Gorge people, Miles Teller and Anya Taylor-Joy. As we mentioned, Miles Teller calling out Kevin Kline for no show. Although, weirdly with that, and I don't think they did it with the others from what I remember, they presented them... I want to say they presented them like in camera as opposed to have a voiceover discuss them or introduce them. I feel it happened with the women in a few minutes afterwards, which was different. But anyway, Farrell wins for the Penguin at last. He is the man that mentioned craft services because of all the time he had to sort of, I guess, be in makeup and get his drinks and whatever while makeup was being applied and all that. So that was a nice little touch. And then probably the presenters of the night. Goddamn Canada. Seth Rogen and Catherine O'Hara talking about how they'd got success with the golden antlers and things like that, and then talking about porn and like how Seth Rogen's film won all the beavers. That was just...
He did do Zack and Mary after all.
Yeah.
I don't want to undermine this bit because it was one of those ones where it started off good and then in the middle it's like, okay, you kind of lost it, and then they found it again before it reached the climax of it. I'm gonna say something that I'm sure is not controversial at all. No, I'm not. That's not sarcasm. I'm being serious, actually. I think I've asked this at least the last couple of years. Is it the settings on my TV, or did everybody look really weird? like there was some weird like blotchy tan thing going on for a lot of people, and some people looked really bright.
Occasionally. Seth even
Yeah.
brought it up, didn't he? Because he said, I wasn't expecting this angle on the camera, so everybody behind me can see my bald spot. Like,
Yeah, I feel like I said that last year too, and I feel like it's like specifically the Globe's lighting. It does. I mean, it does seem like a pretty dim room. I don't know.
But yeah, limited series actress went to Jodie Foster for True Detective.
Yeah, I was the idiot that said that True Detective wouldn't win anything. That was a bad idea.
So between her Globe win here, her Globe win for the Mauritanian, and all her Naiad nominations last year, Jodie Foster keeps surprising us at award shows. I feel like we should probably start betting on Jodie Foster whenever she's in the mix, just to be safe.
I'm just trying to double check. Yeah, well, I might have to take that into account in terms of the Critics' Choice next week, because I just double checked. Yeah, she's in there. Then we had our only other double award presentation with Andrew Garfield and Kerry Washington giving out the comedy acting stuff.
Hell yes.
Leading off with actress, which went to Demi Moore.
Yes.
Who gave a really great speech as well, basically saying how somebody back in the day said, you're a popcorn movie actress, not anything else. And, she was thinking of not doing anything, and then a bonkers script from Faji come along. She said yes, and the rest is the Globe's history. Her first major solo award ever.
So, if she can continue momentum moving forward, we could see something come out of this that all of us on this panel want. For many reasons. One specific reason. But beyond that, the fact that it is the best female performance that's getting accolades of the year, and it deserves to win everything.
Not to mention, we said before. I mean, we've seen stuff like this before, where the Globes will go one way, everybody else goes another way. But the fact that her stiffer competition was in here with her, they weren't in drama.
Nope.
So I mean, unless Jolie is that person, but that's an interesting wrench we can talk about later.
I know it's obviously the thing that comes to mind is film that Owen doesn't want mentioned. But I feel what Moore might have here is the same that Lee Curtis had a few years back. Like acknowledging sort of the career that she's had. And probably to some extent maybe the actual mistreatment that I guess Moore's had in her career, especially, when you hear the whole bit about you're only good for popcorn movies, you're not good for anything else.
What's fantastic about that, if that ends up being the case, is when Jamie Lee Curtis won, everybody was kind of like, the fuck? I mean, it's not a terrible win. She's got some really good scenes in Everything Everywhere All at Once, but nobody would question it if Demi Moore won the whole time.
God, no. That's why I feel that it is very, I don't want to say probable, but it is extremely possible that this could start the train. Potentially.
I think the fact that they went so hard for Amelia Perez too, and she beat Gascon, says a lot about what happened tonight. Anyway,
I don't know. At this point, I'm trying to think. I would probably go for Torres over Gascon if I had to pick a nominee for actress at this moment.
But once again, we're also talking about a completely different body of voters that's not connected to anybody at all.
Which Amelia Perez, when we get to like Oscar time, it could be nothing, or it could just overperform, or it could just be somewhere in the middle. We don't know.
Considering
Very
the
interesting
way
how they
that
tell the same things.
the acting academy votes for the acting stuff, obviously the biggest tear will be SAG when we find that out later this week.
Next week's shows are gonna. Next week's gonna be packed if you're a fan of the network. Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday.
And then
Speaking of big wins,
yeah,
best actor in a musical or comedy.
Sebastian Stan finally
Heck yeah,
gets a win for A Different Man, and doing a very good speech about how disabled and you know, unableist stuff needs to get more attention and spotlight
Andy,
on it and everything.
And he shouted out The Apprentice. And I really just need to acknowledge again how great this lineup was for actor in a comedy.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
good list.
actor is a bloodbath right now, but if you want to talk about somebody that could work their way into actor potentially, it would be Stan at this point. I think he's definitely rising on the list for people when it comes to their visibility and how he's performing overall. The Grant thing is still blows my mind, but it's good to see him here. But if I had to pick somebody that's the outlier when it comes to actor, it's definitely Stan.
I'm so glad I said that in our last prediction video. I feel a little bit better. Like I said, we can't like go all in on Globes, but I feel good about saying that.
I'm more confident than I was, that's for sure. Speaking of things that I'm happy about, very much happy about, the right movie won. Best animated went to Flo.
Although there was also that weird bit when Anthony Mackie was like, Winter Soldier just won a Globe. Like, and Harrison Ford like gave him the death stare like, we're doing the fucking animation, you twat.
The thing about Air Force Harrison is he would actually say that in those words on the stage and not care.
The guy that told David Blaine to get the fuck out of his house would have come out.
Oh my god, yes, that's hilarious. See, again, I really hope that, I know it's the Globes and we talk about how it doesn't mean anything, but visibility is a thing, and no matter what you say, I hope more people go out and see Flo based on this. I really do. Do I think Flo's yeah, no lie. Flo's not for everyone, and I don't necessarily, I think there's probably people that might not necessarily like it, but if they like the Wild Robot, they're gonna love Flo. If they can get past the fact that there's like no dialogue or anything like that, but I mean, Flo is easily the best animated movie of the year, and there is no competition whatsoever.
So,
it's just so good, and it deserves to win, and I'm glad to see it win. Hopefully, it's not the last time.
At this rate, given that we've seen Harrison Ford present a Game Award as well as a Golden Globe, now I'm just like, so he's better showing up at the Grammys in 3 weeks just to present a random award. Then we get him at the Oscars, and then at the Emmys, and then everything's covered. Next up,
yeah, more happiness.
Batman. Mr. Batman, presented director to Bradley Corbet for Brutalist, who throughout both his speeches, we'll get to the other one, pretty much singled out that basically nobody was even interested in distributing the film. Because I think it took like 2 weeks after it premiered at Venice before A24 committed to it, I think.
I think another thing he didn't mention was, didn't he have to battle an NC-17 for a long time, too?
I want to say that as well, because he did mention, Final Cut should go to the director. So whether that was other producers that were basically telling him otherwise, and whether, that's why it took so long, because said producers basically left the project. That'd be awkward. But fitting. Awkwardly fitting. But yeah, good to see Brady win. Then, oh yeah, we got to Brandy Carlisle and Elton John presenting Score.
Me and Elton John had the same reaction.
Well, first, Elton doesn't. Elton is clearly deteriorating somewhat. Although he said, his eye stuff isn't as bad as he originally made out, sort of thing.
I couldn't tell if he really meant that or if it was just to set up the punchline.
Maybe a bit of both. I think it probably is affecting him, but not to the extent where people he's gonna turn into Ray Charles. I don't think it's that extent just yet. But yeah. So when Reznor and Ross won, Elton nearly fucking jumped, and I'm like, in your state, do not jump, sir, please. But he was excited as fuck that 9 Inch Nails got a Golden Globe.
It's very hard to not have that reaction to that win.
It's a pretty big deal.
I mean, not taking into account the other reason, I've been pretty pleased with the way tonight went. Stan, Moore, Culkin, and Challengers. This was
After
a really
hearing
good.
the Challengers score in proper isolation, I was like, that is why they're doing the Tron sequel. It was just, it's so yep, that's Tron. That sounds like Tron now.
I was just really. I mean, a lot of it might be relief for the people that saw our prediction video for this. But based on the wins themselves, this is really good. So I just need to throw that out there.
And then best song going to El Mao. Which again, when I heard it in isolation, it probably sounds completely nonsensical. But don't worry, in the movie it makes sense.
Are we to assume this is the one to beat, or do we think this is up in the air?
I would say if it depends on overall, but I feel like it might be at this point.
I guess I'm asking that too early since we don't have nominations yet.
I feel it's definitely in the 5.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Whether the second one makes it in as well, that's the question.
I mean, one of the nominees here was just recently disqualified, so I guess it's a little unpredictable.
And also, one of the nominees is not Diane motherfucking Warren.
Yep.
Because that always happens. When we did the whole prediction thing, and I feel like no. Certainly, Owen is not going to say Diane motherfucking Warren, but I feel because we know of her reputation. Yes, I'm referencing the Taylor Swift album that might be coming out later this year, or at least Taylor's version of it.
Will coming out later this year.
We know that Diane Warren is never. If she doesn't make it in, I think we'll be more shocked than if we didn't put her and she did make it in. But that'll be next week. And all that, fully. Yeah, weirdly, that was Goldblum and Michelle Yeoh doing that, which was okay. Although in the feed that I saw, it was interesting to see all the theatre stuff. So there was Idina Menzel wanting to shag a tree or something, like in something called Redwood or whatever. There was Wicked stuff. There was Aladdin, and then they did hype Jake Gyllenhaal and Denzel in Othello. So that went down at least. Then we have the Vin Diesel taking goddamn forever. What didn't help is he opened the envelope, and perhaps he was trying to do an anti-Al Pacino and make up for the time that Al Pacino should have spent giving, surprise for the Oscar last year. Like, what the shit?
He seemed baffled, which is really funny, because it was like he started it by saying, well, how I feel about an award for cinematic achievement in box office is it's about damn time. But then when he opened the envelope, he kind of had this look like, what the fuck is this award? Does anybody know what this is for?
I thought he was saying it's about damn time because he's adamant that Fast 11 will be getting in this category when it happens.
Well, that's hilarious. But the well, I mean, I guess if it makes enough, it might. But that's like, what was the highest grossing movie of last year? Was it Barbie?
I'm sorry. The award is moot anyway, because you want to talk about the movie that saved everything when it came to the theater industry last year was the Eras Tour. And it didn't win. So this award is pointless.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, well, I guess you could predict it by what the highest grossing movie was, but then there's the cinematic angle, whatever they think that means. I don't know.
I'm trying to see so the highest grossing movies of 2023. Ironically, it was Barbie, but only by about 100 million to the Super Mario Brothers movie. Oppenheimer fell just short of the billion. Also, I'm trying to remember. Hang on, I need to open up the spreadsheet for last year. Because part of me goes, wasn't Fast 10 in last year for the Globes?
I don't remember it.
No, it missed out, actually.
Because what isn't the highest grossing movie this year right now is Inside Out? Maybe?
Globally, yeah, it's at about 1.7 billion. With Deadpool and Wolverine at 1.3. And Despicable Me and Moana 2 just shy of the billion. Although apparently Sonic the Hedgehog 3 got to 1 billion, but... that's the film series reaching 1 billion. That's cheating. I just saw Sonic the Hedgehog and billion and I thought it was the third movie. Boo! So yeah, Wicked was only at number 6. And I don't know how well that's going to hold. Given to take it, if I take into account that it's already on digital now.
Well, I think we've given this category more time than it deserves. So
it's about damn time.
I mean, nothing against Wicked for winning it, but nobody knows what the fuck it is. So
it's a win for Wicked.
The fact that the Wicked speech was what it was, you kind of could tell that Wicked knew it wasn't winning anything else that night as well.
That was a really good for an award that doesn't mean anything. That was a really good speech from Chu.
Mm-hmm. To be fair. Then we had Rachel Brosnahan and Sarah Paulson getting the chance to present TV limited series to Baby Reindeer, which I didn't see coming. I knew it was, a relatively big thing, and it obviously gained the notoriety of God knows how many people on social media trying to work out identities and whatever, which probably hurt a lot of things. And I believe that court case is still ongoing, or at least the legal situation is. So Lee said about it. I know that Gad is writing some sort of thing for the BBC, but it's certainly not Netflix. But again, the way Richard talked about it, it was something that nobody was interested in, but Netflix took a chance on it.
Kind of a theme of the night.
Which, to be fair, when we have, you know, allegations of sexual assault involving drugged individuals, it's a bit sus in itself. Then Aquafina and Melissa McCarthy were kind of... Aquafina was okay. Melissa tried to be funny.
Dear God, that's like a fate worse than death, those two
failed.
together. Oh my God, I'm glad I didn't watch this thing.
To some extent, it was weird Aquafina playing the straight. Normally, it'd be the other way around.
I don't like either one of them.
Probably made Aquafina look better. But they gave a comedy series to Hacks. So once again, I implore to Amazon, can season 3 actually be released over here legally, rather than people having to ship the 7 seas, or whatever the phrase is. Then Common Domingo and Salma Hayek, Pinot, because she demands Pinot Grigio. Giving drama actress to Anna Sawai for Shogun.
Yes.
I mean, I felt a little validated that I guessed Kathy Bates, since she mentioned Kathy Bates in the speech.
Mm-hmm. And then following on from that, Zoe Kravitz and Colin Farrell presented Shogun with its drama series award as well. So Shogun, the only thing to clean sweep went on multiple nominations, which I guess shows you how strong that category is. Then we had Viola Davis championing all the women, and then maybe a big surprise to some extent, Fernanda Torres following up on what her mother never did 25 years ago at the Globes for, what was it, another, I can't remember. What was it Mum was nominated for? I'm trying to remember. Fernanda Montenegro.
The Central Station, was
Yeah,
it?
Central Station, yeah.
It's in chat. We'll get to that in a bit.
And it was a nice little speech as well from Torres. Which herself, that's the first major award she's got in 30-ish years, when she got Best Actress at Cannes for Love Me Forever or Never back in '86. So actually that's nearly 40 years, sorry.
If we seem low energy about Torres's win, I think it's just because none of us have seen it. So once we probably have, we'd probably be more amped up.
I mean, you know, is that another one that's a Netflix distribution? Oh no, it's Sony.
That might have a better chance.
Oh, it's not even showing up in France until next week, so I don't know when it's showing up here. I'll check maybe at some point. And then we transition to, what was the next one? Oh yeah, Actor, with Gal Gadot and Edgar Ramirez. Giving it to Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Although what
That
was
was that was
interesting is everybody got pretty good crowd reaction, apart from Daniel Craig, because I think people are still questioning what is going on with your hair, son. What is that? What is that weird quiff to the side? What's going on?
If you watch the movie, it'll make sense somewhat.
Yeah, but I'm trying to work out why he's carrying on with it.
I don't want to necessarily put any stake in the globes, but right now, if it were me trying to piece everything together, we've got the four, which are obvious. Craig has always been the outlier. What if Craig gets bumped out for Sebastian Stan? That's what I've been thinking all night. And I feel like that could be a very solid 5 that we move through, and Queer ends up getting nothing this year. I might go that route. Probably will, actually. But it's 12:13 in the morning, so it's possible that I'm not thinking straight right now.
I forgot if Wake Up Dead Man Knives Out 3 is already in post-production. I guess he can do his hair how he wants.
Yeah, because that's what he looks like in that, isn't it? From that one still.
Is it?
That sounds right.
He decided to hold on to the queer haircut.
We were saying that Brody and Chalamet was basically a coin flip. Like we were saying, don't just like take stake in the Globes automatically because they're the first ones that have happened here, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if Brody kind of started now that they're going to be against, like, well, yeah, they were always against each other.
Imagine if they do the opposite of what happened 20 years ago. He wins everything but the Oscar.
That'd be insane. That'd be. He'd be more confused by that than he was at the Thin Red Line premiere. That's.
It's coming.
And then, firstly, interestingly, we go to drama.
I was wondering if I was off here, or if they do they usually switch it up, maybe, or am I just always imagining they've always ended on drama?
They always end on drama.
Drama usually is the one that they focus on.
Here's the reason. See, immediately when I saw this, and I saw drama going first, I was like, oh, well, the Brutalist is about to win. Okay, fine, whatever. So they're going to end on comedy instead to push the ratings for the show, the people that are paying attention. And this is when Wicked's going to win, and it makes perfect sense. So immediately I was thinking Wicked was going to win, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute. This Amelia Perez thing's not going away, and they seem to really enjoy it, so maybe it's going to win. It was either going to be Wicked or Amelia Perez, honestly, at the end of the night. That's what it felt like.
With an outside possibility for the substance.
I would hope so. I would think maybe, potentially. Because it actually, unlike other things, had visibility on this show beforehand by winning at least one thing. So
it was the Moore win that made me wonder, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
It's a shame that, especially when you consider that the votes for that is only sort of like 120 people, you'd actually be able to sort of tabulate the votes and work out who was first and who was second, sort of thing. When it's like all the people in the Academy, when it's like thousands of people, that's when it gets complicated. But when it's like a relative handful compared to some of the other awards, you thought that somebody would try and put up a thing saying, here's what won and where the others came. Maybe, but yeah, drama from Glenn Close went to The Brutalist. And then Nicolas Cage presenting comedy musical to Amelia Perez. And shout outs as well to Carla, though, for a great little speech at the end as well. So it was an optimistic thing. Probably after the sort of the semi-negative Brutalist stuff. Because again, you know, Brady sort of went on the fact that you know, it was the film, it was like Thomas the Tank Engine. It's the little film that couldn't, but then did. It's like,
But by the way, speaking of Gascon, am I imagining things, or was there one time I want to say maybe during Zoe Saldana's speech, maybe, um, somebody thanked Carlos Sofia Gascon and they cut to Sofia Vergara? Is that?
Oh,
Did I imagine that, or?
I might have. I missed that. I think I can't.
I didn't see the show, so I can't say anything. All right, so that's done.
Mm-hmm.
AJ leads right now.
14.
He's at
I was not expecting to lead after I bet against myself 3 times. I bet against myself and I lost. That's a poetic statement there.
So AJ has.
Considering your feelings towards said film, you put it in for. I want to say everything. Bar director.
Picture, actress, and screenplay. I did say Corbet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very happy to lose 3 points.
But yeah, 14, 12, 11, it's... I want to say that's as close as it was last year. I think there was only a few points separating us at the Globes.
I don't know. I'm tired of losing, so I'm going to have to, really buckle down for the rest of this season.
Although,
I got to
be
win.
fair, if you take out the TV stuff...
Get rid of it.
AJ got 7 and me and Owen both got 6, so it was relatively even in that respect.
Well, the thing about that is I did lots of research to try to get reasons why things could win, and it did not help. So, I
made the prediction video more interesting.
Sure.
I mean, and then I guess the good thing as well is it shows you that these award shows aren't too predictable in that there were some that we completely missed on.
Yeah.
We missed on Amelia Perez for musical comedy. We missed on Flo getting animated. We missed on Torres winning for actress.
That's wild that we all missed Amelia Perez when we all went 3 different ways.
Mm-hmm. Same with screenplay. 3 different ways and Conclave won. Same with score. Challengers won. We all went 3 different ways. Baby Reindeer, we went 2 different ways, but same with Foster for actress in miniseries, and same 2 different ways for supporting actor when Shogun won. But yeah, a good mix of one of us getting it right, 2 of us getting it right, all 3 of us, and none. I'd say 14 out of 27 when the 12 and 11 that myself and Owen had, a third to 50%, I'd say is good. Because if a ceremony gets too predictable, then it sort of gets a case of why are we here? Whether that will stay the same for critics, where the voting panel slightly widens to 1,000 or whatever it is.
So I could see critics. I don't, as far as my personal thing, I don't feel out of the woods with Critics' Choice. So
I was very panicked about Critics' Choice.
I feel like they're going to be pretty different from these.
But honestly, I just made the comment saying that I don't want to lose this season. But at this point, also, I don't want to go with things. So I may just end up losing this season anyway because I'm stubborn as hell. So.
Owen, do you want to go through the email first?
Yeah. So, for everybody that joined us for our recap of Globes, Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will be seeing you on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Critics' Choice predictions. We're also going to be talking about the BAFTA long list. For those of you that are sticking around, we've got chat stuff now. So Josie sent me some messages via email, and I'll try to go as quick as I can with everything because it's like shoot late and everything. I got to work in like 7 hours. Josie says, with all we imagine as light getting director and screenplay mentions on the short list, I think it could pull a worst person in the world to get into original screenplay.
Totally possible, yeah.
Very possible. Do you remember the children's book Corduroy and their sequel, A Pocket for Corduroy?
Yes, very much so, yeah.
Yeah,
I actually named a character in a script that based on those books.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not a bear, it's a person, but still I use
the bear's button is yes. The bear's button in the book is so iconic. Yeah, I remember reading those books back in the day. It was Corduroy, Paddington, Bernstein. That's what I was reading. Fraggle Rock books I remember reading when I was a kid. The ones that they basically sold you on HBO. That was fun. Last night I read a funny children's picture book called King's Bid Goods in the Bathtub by Audrey Wood. A king refuses to leave his bathtub. King Bidgood does all sorts of things in the bathtub, from battles to fishing to dance parties. And he's finally forced to get out when someone pulls the chain. That sounds like a short. A short that I will probably like more than most things nominated this year. Sight unseen. If adapted into a live-action film, I could only imagine the production design of the bathtub. It would be the most cinematic bathtub ever to be put on screen. Lyle Lyle Crocodile has questions for you, Jersey. Whenever I see the book Goodnight Gorilla by Peggy Rathman, I think of the gorilla suit scene from I Had an Accident on SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah. That's creepy.
Speaking of creepy, great segue. You're not even reading these like I am. Would Count Orlok and Nosferatu have his mustache on his passport or ID, or would it be a younger picture of him?
Are we to assume he probably pretty much looked like in life like he does in death?
I'd say it looked like Count.
Or would you call it undeath?
Considering how old he is as well, when was the passport obtained?
In the long, long ago, in the way before time.
Well, I guess doesn't hair grow after you die at least a little bit?
Yeah, for sure.
To some extent, that and nails, which is same material, so.
I mean, because presumably vampires are walking dead bodies, right?
Yeah, he probably still looked like Dave Oliver. Anyway, continue. Had to pop AJ on that one. Who would win in a car chase? Feathers McGraw or the Penguin?
The Penguin got stuck in traffic during his show.
And Feathers McGraw got away.
It's also fair.
No, because you haven't. I'm guessing you haven't caught up yet on Vengeance Most Foul, AJ.
Not yet.
That's mild spoilers, but Feathers gets away. There's a great joke about not how he gets away, but the visual representation of him getting away. But
by the way, I automatically assumed we were talking about Farrell's Penguin there.
We are.
Yeah.
Okay.
More importantly, in a moving violations course, and I'm going to add to this specifically the moving violations course, who would be more likely to get off quicker?
Between those two?
Between those two.
I mean, Feathers McGraw seems slicker than Oz.
I don't want to say too much because it's a spoiler, but there is one brilliant joke in that proves that. Let's just say Feathers McGraw is better than Dana Carvey at being a master of disguise.
Oh no!
Because Oz gets away with a lot, but oftentimes pretty sloppily, like just barely.
Sure.
Honestly,
I haven't finished the
Feathers.
show
The
yet, so I
closest
don't
thing
have
I
that
can think
content.
to Feathers McGraw is it's basically fucking Perry the Platypus. As soon as the glove is on his head, everyone goes, "Oh my god, that's Feathers McGraw." When the glove is off, everyone's like, "Oh, it's a penguin."
So it's the way NoHo Hank saw people in Barry. If you're wearing just something on your head, he doesn't recognize you.
Couple chat questions. Favorite volcano scene in a movie?
I mean, does Mount Doom count?
I would say so.
I kind of want to say You Only Live Twice, just because of the
What?
whole that set up the concept of a villain with a giant base that just became practically everything and stereotyped. Although to some extent, the reveal of that, you know, it is akin to Spy Who Loved Me when you get the reveal of the giant blooming submarine eater ship. So it's a pretty good spectacle, to be fair. And I guess technically it is a volcano because when it all goes wrong, it erupts afterwards. So.
Yeah, if Mount Doom counts, I'll say the final confrontation with Gollum.
Okay. If Cardinal Lawrence taught high school, what would happen if he were to proctor detention or a test?
I.
I think it had just happened.
What?
There we go. I like that.
It had just
Sister
happened.
Agnes.
No question of faith. It had just happened.
Fair. If any of the Cardinals were to make their own cleaning products, they would be called Lysol.
Don't forget. In the space of the last week, thanks to the New Year, whatever the shit it was on CNN, we had bloody Ray Fiennes doing very demure, very mindful on a bloody next to Anderson Cooper. Like, what the shit is this?
Well, and Josie pictures Sister Agnes doing story time. Favorite sunroof scene in a movie?
I like the one in Big when Billy Idol's playing. I'm also feeling inclined to say Scary Movie a little bit.
Good God.
Does the ejector seat scene in Goldfinger count as sunroof?
Don't know
I guess
anything about
technically it
Bond.
does because the roof opens and the guy looks up and then he gets yeeted out. So
Josie did fictional awards, first time watches for fall and winter of 2024. Let's see. Score went to Zimmer for Backdraft. Pulse is sound. The President's Analyst is editing. Female Trouble from John Waters is makeup. Warriors from the Magic Mountain. Not that Magic Mountain. Go up to costumes. Zoo Warriors from the Magic Mountain. Thank you. Production design was A Town Called Panic. Cinematography for Black and White was The White Dove, and color was Strange Days. Guy Pearce won for The Count of Monte Cristo for supporting actor, and Tandy Newton won for Beloved and supporting actress. The Bed Sitting Room won adapted screenplay, with Welcome or No Trespassing winning original. Jim Dale won lead actor for Hot Lead and Cold Feet. Jill Banner won for Spider Baby, and acting ensemble went to Strange Days. Catherine Bigelow for Strange Days for director, and Strange Days also won picture.
Nice.
Yes.
Especially those last two top ones are very nice.
Quick commentary on a couple pieces of trivia from like Spider Baby. The cast is listed in order of their height. The rocking chair that Virginia ties Peter to as she plays her spider game was an antique belonging to director Jack Hill's grandmother, destroyed during filming.
Oh.
The film was called Cannibal Orgy originally, and the director wrote a treatment for the sequel called Vampire Orgy, which followed Peter and Anne on their honeymoon. Shot in 1964 in the month of August with the title Cannibal Orgy, or The Maddest Story Ever Told, there was no premiere. His release was held up for 3.5 years because the producers went bankrupt. Tied the film up in legal limbo, and independent producer David L. Hewitt acquired it for distribution in 1967 in December, changed the title to Spider Baby, and the following summer in 1968, The Liver Eaters.
I'd be curious. Josie's always throwing the trivia out. I'd be curious if Josie knows the connection that Jack Hill's very first short film that he did with Sid Haig, how it's connected to Apocalypse Now.
Interesting.
We'll see.
Josie, if you're still around, if you're listening to live show right now, then you know how to email me. During the climax, as he's struggling with Mary Mitchell, Sid Haig had the flu and a temperature of 103 degrees. 103 is a great number. The producers employed a doctor to stand by on the set to give Haig an injection every few hours so he could continue to work. At this point, AJ, that's like propping you in front of the computer. Shoot! The Smith Estate house was originally occupied by Judge David Patterson Hatch, where he wrote occult books as well as the metaphysical writings after he retired from the bench. The Smith Estate of Los Angeles was used for the exteriors of the Mary house. The house still stands. While driving the car, Peter and Ann discussed the legends of the Wolfman. Lon Chaney Jr. was the Wolfman from 1941 for the movie of the same name. So the big black limo used, chauffeured by Lon Chaney Jr. is a 1930 Duesenberg Model J custom Berline, bodied by Judkins. It was purchased new by the famous American professional wrestler and promoter William Sandow, not to be confused with Damien. In 1935, the car was purchased by E.L. Cord, which is the president of Auburn Cord Duesenberg, for his wife. Purchased in 1937 by John W. D. Nora, whose Pacific Auto Rental in Hollywood had become a major source of rental cars for the booming movie industry. As a result, this Model J is perhaps the most filmed of any Duesenberg, having appeared in many Hollywood productions such as The Great McGinty, Night Monster, Pocket Full of Miracles, Al Capone, Party Girl, Some Like It Hot, The St. Valentine's Day Massacre Scene in 1959, Howard Hughes, The Gangster Chronicles, and City Heat. In 2010, the Duesenberg got a full restoration, painted burgundy with a black top and fenders. In 2013, in August, the Duesenberg was sold at auction for $1,16,500. Owen can't do math. Thanks, Josie. Makes me look even more dumb trying to read this. Winifred and Barney, the pet tarantulas that appear throughout the film, were real living spiders that Joe Banner had to handle during filming. Note, neither tarantula was harmed, though fake rubber props were used during the scene where a live spider was eaten on screen from a bizarre stew she had made. And lastly but not least, Jack Hill said he wrote a horror comedy sequel called Spider Baby 2 Pull and Squirm on the market, but he wasn't putting a lot of effort in trying to sell it because he wasn't interested in directing it. Couple more things. The bed sitting room trivia. It was Marty Feldman's theatrical movie debut. The words bomb and war rarely said in the dialogue. The terms misunderstanding, unfortunate incident, and etc. were used instead. The last movie released by UA's foreign movie division, Lopert Pictures Corporation, went out of business in 1970. Richard Lester directed this film by default. Invited by UA to direct a third Beatles film, having directed Hard Day's Night and Help. It was supposed to be titled Up Against It, written by the controversial playwright Joe Wharton, who had only written part of it when he was bludgeoned to death by his lover, Kenneth Hallowell, in 1967.
That was unexpected.
Yes. 18 days after the death, Brian Epstein committed suicide. Interesting. Both of these events effectively ended the prospect of the third Beatles film. Knowing that Lester had turned down other projects while waiting for the movie now scrapped Beatles film, UA asked him if he could turn Spike Milligan's recently completed script into a movie, and this was the movie. The bomb maker produced Mumps and Measles in a secret lab, almost completely unseen character. He appears for about 5 seconds, head covered with a one-piece hood. The director requested the person in question would take that part. Member of the ACTT, which is the Film Production Technicians Union, he refused. And the director offered £5, and they agreed on a condition of total anonymity. He was the second and third assistant director, but his identity was actually never discovered. At one point, Bulls Martin asks Shelter Man where they are, to which he replies, Paddington. And Paddington Bear was directed by Sir Michael Hordern, which is Bulls Martin. The revised anthem lyrics were God save Mrs. Ethel Schroek, long live Mrs. Ethel Schroek, God save Mrs. Ethel Schroek of 393A High Street, Leytonstone. And last but certainly not least, yes, for the president's analyst, not so secret fact, the FBR and CEA were originally identified by their real names. Apparently, pressure was brought to rename them after the film was shot. Every line where FBR and CEA is spoken was redubbed. If you watch the actors' lips, they're saying FBI and CIA. Don Masters wears a Dizzy Gillespie for President sweatshirt at the beginning of the movie, and Dizzy Gillespie ran a short-lived campaign for office in 1964. The head of the FBR was Lux, which of course Lux was a vacuum. Edgar Hoover put two and two together. .com, good job. Secret White House elevator Sydney have doors that make the same noise as the doors on Star Trek. Nice. Grateful Dead was asked to be in the film. It would have been a rock band that Dr. Schaefer winds up hanging out with, but they wanted complete control, so that didn't happen. The name of the ship was the Matahari. While many people today mistakenly think it's about the Nixon years, because of paranoia and surveillance, surveillance, it was filmed and released before Nixon became president. LBJ was the president at the time of filming. And while in notes on the presidents, there's a children's book called Duck for President. In the book, Duck runs for president. Most of the book is about his election process. When he's finally elected, he doesn't like being in the presidential position of power, so he steps down and returns to the farm and writes his autobiography. Sounds topical. Since I mentioned the rocking chair in the bed sitting room, finally, favorite cinematic rocking chairs.
There's the one that the grandmother, I think, is sitting on in The Night of the Hunter when she's waiting for Robert Mitchum to show up. That was a rocking chair, right? It wasn't just a regular chair.
I think so.
It's almost 1 a.m. and
Yep. So we got a little bit more chat to go. A lot more. Thankfully, most of them are just comments. But we've got 3 people to chat with at this point. So thank you, Josie, for giving us commentary, trivia, and fun as always. We will see you likely
banjos in Deliverance
tomorrow.
I think that was a rocking chair.
I think it might have been more like a porch swing, maybe.
I'm trying to remember. I guess I just think it as a rocking chair, because when you see other people do it in terms of
if you know, you know.
No, right. Because you see how many other people do it. They're always on rocking chairs doing it with the banjo. That's what
That's fair. I did literally go with John Paul to Cracker Barrel the other day and saw that with my own 2 eyes, so I understand.
So Spencer's comments go, Happy Globes Day, A Different Man, I love Conclave, Challenges, I love the Blitz song and the Sing Sing song, and I love every song from I Saw for TV Glow.
This commentary is amazing, especially out of context, because it's just like fragments of dialogue, and it's just wonderful. So
do you think Audiard and Justine Triet like each other's movies?
The reason they wouldn't.
That's fair.
The Brits are a blast. Love their off the wall long list picks.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Some aren't off the wall. It's just when there's a list of sort of 10, that's probably what you're gonna get. Because there will be British skew, as there always will be, especially when they did that, when they brought in the system that basically meant that so many were going to be basically British nominees, so it wasn't just an international thing. The Homie is great. My boss called Jamie Lee Curtis Activia Curtis. I almost died. Nikki Glazer did amazing. Enough of the mediocre male hosts. I'm done with these stupid TV categories. Move them all to PBS.
You get the Bill Jacobson thumbs up for that one, Spencer.
I have finished my awards picks, and AJ is acknowledged for the screenplay for Honora, not shithead Snaker.
One of my favorite pieces of dialogue in this chat is that statement right there.
Somebody needs to like screenshot that for me, and I'm gonna put it on the wall.
It's annoying that I can't change the size of it and just make it full screen. And I don't think I don't have the capability in here and whatever to. I can pin the message, so it's there for everybody to see. That's tempting. Celebrate Golden Globes tonight. I watched Descent Part 2. Interesting
choice.
Random.
Conclave 2. Lisa Frankenstein meets the Pope.
I'm okay with this.
Dune 3. A War in Megalopolis.
Oh dear God.
Amelia Perez 2. A Different Woman. I don't know, The Apprentice 2. Donald's World Robot.
So it's about the Hall of Presidents and the fact that the Donald animatronic was supposed to be Hillary, and then when Trump won, that's when they had to pivot and change that into him instead.
Maybe it was Adrian Dickman all along.
You can easily tell too. Hall of Presidents closed now because obviously they're trying to wait for
The Brutalist 2. Vengeance Most Foul.
Is that going to be 4 hours long as well?
Hopefully.
Hell, if you see him in a double bill, it is 4 hours long. I was listening to Selena Gomez in an interview, and she seems to have the similar anxiety with people that AJ does. I think they'd be good friends.
I have a feeling all three of us would get along, Spencer.
Wicked Part 3, live from New York. It's Saturday night.
That writes itself.
I mean, it's Universal, so it's going to be on Peacock. It makes sense.
Heck yeah, let's go. I'll be promoting that in the parks recently.
No wins for tonight for Pacific Heights. Keaton should have won. Same with Melanie Griffiths. Reminder that all we imagine as light is amazing. Same with I'm Still Here. We can still turn the ship around.
Spencer, I feel like Torres is trying a one-person mission to do just that right now.
Emily Blunt and a Baby Girl prequel with AJ directing.
I mean, would that be about how her and Banderas met, or? Because I'd probably, even though they're supposed to be like younger, I'd probably just cast Banderas again.
That's fair.
I didn't realize Daniel Craig was playing a real guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that William S. Burroughs novel is pretty wild, and that movie is understandably crazy just for that reason.
New Year's Evil, 1980, great time. Problem is, when I see New Year's Evil, I just think of the NXT event. Not the movie from back at the time.
I was actually quite surprised by the twist in New Year's Evil. That was actually surprisingly well done for as D grade as that movie was, I guess. whichever grade you want to give it, that's not A or even really B.
This was fun, Spencer says. Inside Out 2, Ghost Town. Even Wild Robot falling behind Disney Plus destroyed the magic of that awkward mouth.
Come on, Flo, let's go. Come on, you got one mission. Let Flo win this season, please. And I like Inside Out, and I like the Wild Robot, but Flo is so far superior to both of them.
I watched I Saw the TV Glow and A Different Man. Those are my best film winners for the Spencer Globes.
Those are deserving winners.
Next up, Alexandra Smith's list of statements.
Welcome, Alexandra. Glad to see you step away from lurking and join us for chat. We appreciate it.
Hey guys, first time on a live. I'm a big fan of AJ's movie reviews and AJ. A super duper celeb crush. He may or may not have slightly written Red Rocket and Honora, did you know?
Allegedly.
That's where secretly I'm hoping that he wants Sean to win a screenplay, because then he can say, I technically just won that Oscar.
That's really complicated.
Yeah, and I want to know how I made balloons happen, because that's the first time that's ever happened.
Yeah, that caught me off guard.
Caught me off guard too.
It appeared to be the air quotes, maybe.
It was the air quotes, allegedly.
What's really funny is to that first comment, I was gonna say like, "Oh, that's new. That's something I haven't heard." And then I had the exact same thought when the balloons appeared. It's like, "Oh, that's new too."
The Bill Jacobson thumbs up, the heart, everything, that's normal. The thumbs down, that's normal. The balloons, that's completely new.
Alexander adding so well spoken, funny, and charming.
I don't even know how to respond to that. It's not. Yeah, I don't hear it a lot, so I don't know how to respond.
Alexander
but I feel
also
very
saying, I love the vibes here. I'm always nervous to join, but here I am. I didn't like Amelia, but I did love I'm Still Here in Vermiglio. Really enjoyed Heretic, but love Sebastian. I guess that was when Stan won for his stuff. Any other Sebastian Stan movies I should watch outside of his 2 this year? Whoa.
Hold on.
I mean, this isn't a full-on recommendation or anything, but The Covenant's always been such a guilty pleasure.
Obviously, AJ's not going to say anything then, but I'll defend I, Tonya. You got to understand my perspective where it's coming, though.
I will anti-recommend I, Tonya.
I knew you will.
Logan Lucky was pretty good as well. That same year.
Yeah.
I dug Fresh.
Mm-hmm.
The Martian, obviously, but that's probably an obvious one. I forgot he's one of the dudes that like may or may not be imaginary in Black Swan that they like go out with.
Black Swan. Yeah. I like Rachel Getting Married. The Education of Charlie Banks is a movie no one even really knows about.
It's got a video on the channel, at least.
Yes, it certainly does.
I'm trying to remember where he was in Logan Lucky.
Dumb Money. Dumb Money's a movie a lot of people forgot about, too, that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, it's like the one...
Stan played the NASCAR driver.
Yeah, okay. Got it.
Basically Sacha Baron Cohen, but not French.
Yeah.
He's also Bucky Barnes if you're a fan of the Marvel superhero movies.
Yeah, I figured coming up in Thunderbolts later this year. It'll be interesting to see how that goes.
And Hot Tub Time Machine is underrated too.
Another one I don't remember him being in. Of course, I don't think I've seen it all the way through since the theater, and that was 15 years ago. So
that's 1,000,000% the same way with me as well.
I also forgot that he was briefly in Destroyer as well. The thing where you forgot that Nicole Kidman's in it because the amount of makeup they put on her.
That's a Karan Kusama movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the Pam and Tommy miniseries, which he got a lot of acclaim for too.
We just went through his whole filmography, basically.
Isn't that wonderful? Sebastian Stan, the name.
I do not recommend The Bronze. That movie is dumb as fuck. But
International feature.
You went almost the whole show without cursing. It's crazy.
International feature was my favorite category last year. This year, there's a lot of good docs, and I like the good makeup work because I am a makeup artist, so I appreciate it. I really enjoyed AJ's review of Keira Knightley's The Hole.
Oh wow, that was at the very beginning.
Yep.
And Vampire's Kiss. Yeah. I really like how you guys acknowledge William Hurt.
Yeah.
I like AJ's shirt in the whole Vampire Kiss video.
I don't remember which one that would have been.
Nikki Glazer
I
so
can't believe
warm, and I
that
love.
video is like 12 years old.
Glazer was so warm, and I loved her style. Yeah, there was no sort of outfits that really looked stupid on her tonight. Even the one outfit that she wore just to be in the I got nominated but didn't win. She even had a different dress for that. I like the Queen, but Babel was better. And I love Judi Dench in Notes on a Scandal. I like AJ's brother's Batman statues. I really enjoy Superman Returns, so that video was super fun.
Yeah, I think that would have been the when we did all of like the superhero movies that we think are underrated.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey Madison
But then
will learn. Well,
but then we got.
I think
We were doing superhero movies that we thought were underrated, and we got to X-Men Origins and we blanked.
That's great.
Mickey Madison will learn to pick less sleazy directors in her future. She's a nice girl. As proven by her Criterion Closet video. Although
When the pain wears off, I'll watch her Criterion Closet video.
Yeah. Well,
it's like YouTube is so confused right now. It's like, dude, you always watch these. Watch this one. Come on. It's like they are every time.
one
like,
thing you won't like is she does pick one of Sean's earlier films to go in the bag. I can't remember which one it was. But...
You need a trash bag? Okay, cool. Right on. Let's go.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like, I praised Tangerine and the Florida Project, and it's like I shouldn't have anything against those, but now it's like, I wonder who those belong to.
So that's funny you mentioned that because it came up on my time hop yesterday. I'm pretty it was yesterday. It might have been the day before. That Florida Project review actually came up on my Facebook. So I thought, like, wow, that's interesting how things are now the way. Ray Fiennes
reunited with J-Lo for Made in Manhattan reunion. I would marry Rafe right now. Don't tempt me. That's fair. Also, that random bloody Ray Fiennes telling Juliette Binoche what to put in her bag for Criterion Closet and vice versa was weird. But whatever. Jennifer Tilly needs to get more roles. The lady is fabulous. Fernanda and Adrian. Yay, Timmy, your time will come after 4 more nominations.
The season's just starting, my friend.
Any Central Station fans? I don't think I've seen it.
What was that?
Any Central Station fans?
I watched it once when I was going through like Best Actress nominees, and it was one of those ones where I watched it with too many things, so nothing was really sticking. So I need to watch it again. I accidentally have 2 copies of it, so it shouldn't be hard.
The Brutalist. Dang was hoping for the substance in picture, not Amelia. I guess that's Perez, but it says Amelia Pie. Is that like the sequel to American Pie when we involve the Mexican cartels? Like what?
I would love to see the substance start taking off.
Then face fuchsia wide eyes emoji.
I have nothing. I don't really have anything against Amelia Perez, but I was definitely pulling for the substance there as well.
Always.
White Noise 2 fans unite.
Yeah.
And Oscar for Rory Culkin for Scream 4.
Oh, I literally just had a comment, and just as quickly as I had it, it left.
I almost had something else, but now it's gone.
It's 1 in the morning.
I'm going to continue to say that every single time you say that. So go ahead. Smurfy boy, welcome back.
Yeah, a few little bits from Smurfy boy.
Take it on.
If Demi Moore wins at SAG, would that make her the front runner?
Ooh.
I would honestly say, considering how it usually goes with the acting members of the Academy voting for the acting categories, and nearly all of them being probably SAG members, that'll be a big skew. Whether it's enough to tip it, I don't know. But
Don't we know that BAFTA's not going to matter as much this year? Is that what the deal is because of the way the placement of the award season?
yeah, because
Well, you can-
BAFTA reveal is the Wednesday the 15th, at least for
Mhm.
everything but Rising Star, and then I
Literally
think
2 days before the Oscar nominations.
the Oscar nominations submissions are Monday next week, the 13th, I believe.
Okay.
But like we were saying, there is also voting overlap with the Oscars and BAFTA. So even if their nomination stuff come after, there's still a because BAFTA has had a surprising amount of pull. Like when you ask the question, would that make more of the front runner? I mean, technically, yeah,
Oh, for sure.
but like we were saying, BAFTA's had a lot of pull lately in the last few years. It feels like. So if somebody else went BAFTA, then she'd be in trouble.
Given that the long lists for BAFTA are all published with all of them, and I think it's like, I want to say it's 10 or 15 names, at least in the acting stuff.
By the way, I should put an asterisk on that real quick before I forget. Except for 2022, when BAFTA went with all people that Oscar didn't go with, and they didn't match at all in
Yeah.
like the entire Big 8 categories. With that exception, otherwise BAFTA has been pretty like a pretty huge crystal ball almost when it comes to stuff.
Smurfy also saying there's still a big chance that Selena Gomez misses out at the Oscars.
I don't have her in here right now, and I'm a fan. This might have been her only chance tonight with her television work. Because if Saldana is the one that's overshadowing, and apparently from what the panel says and what everybody seems to tell me that Saldana should be leading anyway, and she's running and supporting, then there may not be a space for Gomez.
I feel like Gomez ran out of room a long time ago, but that might just be
That's what I think too. But you also don't have Grande in either, so anything's possible. There could be some surprises. We'll put it that way. One in a couple weeks.
Part of me does feel whether if Saldana was put in leading, she'd actually have less of a chance.
Oh, for sure. That's why
Although I think it's probably one of the strongest performances as a lead actress to some extent anyway, but at least they're being open with the category fraud from the off. Because practically everybody had Vikander for lead actress.
Mm.
And then Oscar suddenly she was supporting.
Right.
And there was also the reverse with Winslet in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Winslet had the other movie, but they were just like, "Oh, we're giving you the same spot. We're gonna switch the movie on you."
Yeah.
The wrong movie, right performance.
And then Smurfy says if Jeremy Strong gets into supporting actor for Apprentice, then I could see Sebastian Stan taking the 5th slot in Best Actor.
Even if the Strong doesn't, and since supporting actor is so crowded anyway, I can still see Stan getting that 5th slot right now. Craig's got to really start performing in order to show out.
Whether there's the possibility that Stan could be splitting his own votes.
It's possible.
Because I think from the way it is, you have to say that actor for that performance, right?
Yeah.
You can't say I just want Sebastian Stan for whichever one you decide. So,
No, you have to vote. You can't do an Ashley and vote for something.
yeah,
You can
you
have to
can't,
vote
you
for
can't do a both. So,
Yeah.
and
Nor
because
can
they're
you do
such
the
strong
thing.
performances together, it's hard to decide between the two.
Nor can you really, even though they did, you can't do the thing where Jessica Chastain got nominated for The Help and they put up a picture from the Tree of Life.
Although I did see a good joke from Eric Anderson off Award Watch's Twitter feed of somebody going recreating tonight's Golden Globe graphics, but for a previous award, and it was the 1998 one, where the woman that won was in the toilet. So they basically just put that weird, like Google pointer thing over like a toilet stall because that's where she was sat at the time rather than in the room. Because apparently
Yeah.
we had to know where they were sat for some reason this year, as if it was bloody Google Maps. Like,
I mean, if Stan can get SAG, which is not unlikely, and Stan can find a way into the BAFTA lineup, then I feel like he's got the fifth slot, and Daniel Craig's going to miss out. And that's very likely right now. But it could be the polar opposite, and Craig could finally start picking up some steam and start getting some more nominations that he needs visibility. But I don't know if that's going to be the case.
It's also funny how many different ways you can see it, because you could say if Jeremy Strong gets in, it would make perfect sense. Like, it's going to be telling that morning where it's going to be like, oh, that means Sebastian Stan's probably in for The Apprentice. It might not add up. Like,
Nope.
oftentimes it doesn't add up. So if Jeremy Strong still got in, but then Stan got in for a different man, I actually wouldn't be surprised.
Not one bit. The thing is, you got the question mark about the conclave actors at this point. Is Tucci going to get SAG to bring him back into the conversation a little bit more solidified? Or is Conclave going to get left out in the cold when it comes to anything but fines and, at this point, screenplay?
Well, Tucci making the BAFTA long list is finally something.
That is helpful, yes, for sure. But we'll talk about that Tuesday. Well, technically, I can say this now. We'll talk about that tomorrow.
and I
After midnight.
feel, and we won't be discussing obviously guilds till later on in the week, but
Next week.
Conclave's biggest chance I feel is ensemble.
100%.
The amount of performances there, so.
Okay.
Is that it?
That is it.
We will be back in a couple of days.
We're back Tuesday night at 6 p.m. to predict the Critics' Choice, and we're going to talk about the BAFTA long list. Sunday next week, after the Critics' Choice has finished, we're going to do a recap show. Monday, we're going to be doing our guild discussion and BAFTA nomination discussion. And on Tuesday, well, you're waited all year for our final Oscar predictions.
BAFTA nomination discussions Monday the 20th.
Yep. And then Oscar predictions are the 21st.
No.
Take a shot. Long day. Don't confuse me like that. It's too early.
I know.
So
Monday is guilds next week.
Yes.
Tuesday will be the full Oscar predictions.
Yes. It's Guild and BAFTA, this long list, and BAFTA nominations and Guild is going to be on Monday. No.
BAFTA long list.
Long list is going to be tomorrow, technically, Tuesday.
Yeah, with the Critics'
Next week is going to Monday, the 20th. That's BAFTA discussion for nominations.
No, because the nominations are the 15th.
The week after. Let's go.
Yes. Say.
If you're going to be watching the channel on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, chances are you're getting content within the next couple weeks, and then we're going to have a nice little break ski till February.
Yeah, till probably first or second week in February. What with the BAFTAs being mid-Feb of the start of that chain of events. Arguably. So yeah. Content is coming thanks to the peak in viewers that we did have. We had close to double figures for the early parts of this.
Thanks for everyone joining us tonight.
And of course, those of you who didn't catch us live, because, we did pretty much go from 11, so it's not sort of the usual time when we get our peak audiences. So thanks to you to those that hung around. And as I say, those on archive that will watch us in hindsight. So I think in terms of everything, do you want to do the outro, Owen?
Yeah, that's fine. So once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight, whether live or in archive. We've seen nice to hear from Josie, also to hear from Spencer and Smurfy Boy, and welcome Alexander Smith. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully you'll return and give us more commentary and more thoughts that you have. Same with anybody that's lurking as well. Again, if you'd like to just chime in, you're more than welcome to. If not, feel free to just watch and check us out every single time we do these shows. Ashley can be found on Twitter at AshIsMyNameUK. And more snack stashes, more gaming content still to come in the channel. More content coming in 2025. I personally like I mentioned before, got very lazy this year. And I have a ton of videos that have yet to see the light of day. They're on here. I've not put them up yet. You'll get more content. Do not worry. AJ, of course, can be found for movie reviews and versus other regular segments on the network. That's going to be more normal schedule sometime in 2025. AJ will go back to regular movie reviews. And we have more segments coming this year. So if you like certain segments in 2024, chances are you're going to see versions of them come back in 2025, including the very successful Speaking Bluntly, which will finally have its If review coming very soon. I also can be found on Twitter at SirOwenDisney. And that's going to be your show for tonight. So thanks, everyone, for joining us, whether live or in archive. And, I'll bring this back. In a world where there were a billion podcasts to talk about the awards season, thank you tonight for choosing a podcast. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Until literally tomorrow, boys and girls. That's all we got to say about that.
Rest in peace, Perry the Donkey.